This is going to be a recap of what we've missed.
You know, they say the original sin.
All humans are born with sinful nature. We're inheriting the original sin of Adam.
So remember the Gnosticism stuff where the demiurge goes and makes his own material universe?
Yeah.
Now, material universe means inherently flawed universe because they were higher dimensional beings. They lived in a better plane already.
Yes.
To come down in dimension, sin, flaw. So that's why we're all born of sin. We're born in this plane. Like anything in this plane is like sin, quote unquote. And we're all trying to get back to heaven, a.k.a. like the plane above us.
I see. Yes.
The God and angels, the above the firmament, all that type of shit.
Because if you look at it not as
we're trying to
heaven, like a mystical, it's like, no, that's just in our plane of existence, the next level of enlightenment would be heaven to our standard. Their idea of heaven is their next.
The fifth,
whatever.
We're trying to get to the fourth.
Yeah, and then that goes all the way up until the creator, like whatever the top thing. Yeah.
Because remember the Gnosticism it said the sparks of divinity were trapped in us because we're animal bodies. We know that. We're fucking beasts. But then we just have like more consciousness than any other beast for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So it's those sparks of divinity. And the sin that we're all constantly making is by not breaking free of that and reaching enlightenment. Once you reach enlightenment, a.k.a. ascend, or like once you die, now you'll go up, that would be breaking free of that original sin. Or like,
do you think dying breaks it?
I think you have to like reach enlightenment. I don't think just dying would break it because then
so you think
you're still stuck here.
Do you think there is some level of reincarnation to where you live this life, you die, there is some sort of judgment, and then it's like, hey, you fucked up a little bit. You're going to go back, and you're going to do that again. And you're going to come back, we're going to do it again, and then you're going to go back. You're going to live again until you figure out how to live as a human.
That Buddhist wheel fucks me up, man.
No, yeah, 100%. Because that's what I was watching something where someone was talking about how there is, like, whatever our consciousness is, that lives in another plane. Mm-hmm. And they look at all these planets and they go, they're all like training grounds. And Earth is supposedly the hardest training ground. You could say that about anything, whatever.
It's just like anyone being from their city. It's like, with the toughest in Philly.
100%. Yeah, no, exactly. So basically, as like a living as conscious as whatever that being is up there, you choose to go, hey, I want to learn, I want to go to Earth. You're and like being in a grade in school, you don't go on to the next grade until you pass this grade. So you keep living and keep living and keep doing it and doing it and doing it until you figure it out, and then you ascend.
Well, the Buddhist thing fucks me up because doing good or bad from any level bounces you around to different levels, but it's not like in order straight from bottom to top. There's that one thing where you get to us, and then at God's, and then there's like enlightenment after that. But you can't get enlightened from being God. You have to be enlightened from being us. So you can be us and do half good and get God status, but now there's only room to go back down.
Yeah. Okay, so you have the
worlds of gods and celestial beings, the world of warlike demigods, the world of human beings, world of animals, world of hungry ghosts, and world of hell. So like doing good and bad, I think for the most part you just go up or down. But then if you don't jump from human to celestial being, if you don't reach enlightenment and you just go back up to demigod, well, now there's only room to go down. You can only reach enlightenment on the human plane.
That's interesting.
That shit fucks me up.
Which would make sense why demigods are warlike. Because it's
you're
like
not going to learn
it doesn't
anything.
fucking matter. It might as well be a war because I got to go back down to get up. So it's
but you have all that power. Like you have no humility. Like you're not going to learn anything. You're just going to be hubris and fucking gluttony and all that shit.
You wonder if like do you keep human form through some of these, or do you like is that just a way of thinking and a way of life that like the way like if you make it to the demigod side, are you like these business bureaucrats and like these Roth, like all these people at this higher level where you're fucking with shit on the human plane?
I would say
because someone like that isn't going to reach enlightenment. I can't.
I understand what you're saying. I think human beings is just all one plane, though. I think demigods would put you at like a
mystical, like a Hercules or something.
Yeah, like maybe you're still on this plane, but you have some like you're one of your. I know technically demigod means like half god parent, one regular parent, but it's definitely potential. I mean, I don't fucking know.
This is a thought.
That's what most of this is going to be. It's a lot of like, here's
That's
an
what
idea.
it's all it is. No, this is an idea episode. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is the we're gonna do a few of these because we're gonna miss a lot of shit.
Toss them out there. These are the ones where I'd like comments.
Yes.
If we could get some direction on, because these are things where it's like, I'm going to keep pulling at the thread on this, but here's what we got for now. You put me on to this a while ago, and then we've never really talked about it since. Black hexagram, top of Saturn.
That's money, baby.
Fucking science retards on YouTube will be like, there's actually nothing supernatural about it. It's simply a storm. It's like, no one's saying it's not a fucking storm. All we're saying is people seem to reference this fucking thing throughout history before we've had goddamn telescopes and satellites and shit. Here's some hexagon stuff I don't know. If you took a cube and it was floating above the ground, the shadow would be a square, right?
Yes.
What if you turn the fucking cube sideways? Now the shadow's a hexagon. A hexagon can be considered a two-dimensional representation of a cube. Now Google cube unboxed or like unfolded.
It looks like a hopscotch.
It looks like something else. A cross.
A cross.
Now, a cube, Mark, represents the limitations of the human form, the animal body.
Yes.
Because we're trapped in it. Where a circle or a sphere, which goes outside of the cube, represents us breaking free. What did Jesus and his disciples have around their faces in those paintings? They all had circles representing that they weren't bound to the animal form, that they had these extra senses.
Enlightened almost.
Enlightened. What did Jesus travel up to ascend? He traveled up the cross. When you break free of the cube, your animal form, you create the cross that you ascend to enlightenment.
Wow.
Which is how you break free. It's one and the same.
Wow.
Look up what a carbon atom looks like. It has 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. 666. Type in like shape of
Hexagons.
hexagons and cubes is what carbon, I guess when you keep stacking them.
Carbon-based life forms.
We're made of carbon. We're 666. We're cubes and
Yeah. And then, which
we're
goes
limited.
And then this is the interesting thing. You know how they say 666 is the devil?
Well, we don't know what
The devil
is good or bad.
But we don't know what's good or bad.
Yeah.
But in Genesis, when we talk about two gods, they say Enki is the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Enki is the one that helped humanity. That's the one that enlightened, like gave Eve the apple.
But then it comes back to, why would Jesus come down here in the first place? Because we think Jesus went around learning all these different things to figure out how to become enlightened. But Jesus comes down from that, quote unquote, fourth dimension or whatever, wherever the demiurge came from. So Jesus comes down, takes this physical animal body,
Yes.
and learns how to become enlightened, and then turns around and starts teaching it to everybody. It's literally like he had to figure out how to do it so then he could go around and teach everyone else how to do it. Because he knows that we're all born in sin because this universe is bullshit.
Yeah.
But he also realizes that the demiurge is the one that came down and made this flawed universe.
Yeah. Which Gnosticism is like early Christianity.
Yes.
Early.
I got to get into Hermeticism also, because that seems to
That's
tie
what I
in a
was.
lot.
That's what I've been getting into.
Good.
That's all like that's all like as above. That's where like that comes from. That's all
Alchemic.
like that's all Hermes Trismegistus stuff. Thoth, Emerald tablets.
Who might be Jesus. So all these teachers, what would possess them to want to help us? This guy is basically saying, like, Jesus knows we didn't ask for this. Like, someone else came down and forced us to be this sinned, flawed animal people. Basically came down making it his mission, like, I'm going to teach these people how to become enlightened and how to ascend. And then that way, these sparks of divinity that came down from heaven that are trapped in your animal body will be able to be released, upon your enlightenment. And you'll be able to ascend and go back to where you belong.
Yeah. That's fucked up. That's interesting.
So then this ties together. The Jesus being in the body theory, where we talk about like the milk and the honey and stuff. When he was crucified between two other people being crucified, two thieves. And I don't know if it's fact or speculation, but they say one of the thieves was guilty and the other one was innocent. So it's something representing two opposites. your right and left hemisphere of your brain.
Wow.
So then when it says that Jesus rose up the cross to heaven in between them, that's literally saying now, let's talk about Kundalini.
Yeah.
Rising up the spine into the brain in your pineal gland in between two hemispheres. So your two opposites, and now we take, what's that Kundalini mean? Because that's two snakes going up the serpent, double helix, DNA.
Yeah.
They say DNA has like 90% junk DNA in it. What other thing in nature has like extra shit to it? You know what I mean? Like everything nature does is pretty fucking, this is what you need to survive and not
If we came through evolution and all this other, like.
So they also said that the gods wanted to like hide the information out there, like this information Jesus was trying to teach us. They wanted to put it somewhere, but they were like, we put it somewhere, people who aren't worthy could find it. So the only way to make sure that people who are only worthy find it is to keep it inside of the fucking people.
The Akashic record.
So now I'm wondering, is the Akashic, this isn't what he said. This is now me just talking. Is the Akashic record the junk part of the DNA? And that's why we're able to like.
Or the junk part of your brain where they say you only use 10% of your brain?
That I've always associated more with the limit, the cap that they put on us as like the slave race. I always associate that more with that, but potential. So now we're thinking, okay, two snakes going to go up, that double helix, DNA. A lot of old biblical writing and like esoteric writing, they talk about a spiral staircase or spiral ladder. What's that? Fucking DNA.
Yeah.
So
in the Tree of Life thing we saw in that museum with the Anunnaki, they had that thing. It wasn't complete double helix, but it had like interweaving.
Throughout history, there's all these things of people, holding two snakes.
Yeah.
All shit like that. So now
Hermes has that staff.
The thing that becomes like the medical sign. If the thing that is ascending up into your brain, if we're saying that that's just DNA, it's basically like your brain figuring out how to unlock the part that was dormant or not open to it. So now you're able to get into that Akashic record maybe or whatever. So now we go into, like, you take shrooms or ayahuasca. I don't think they have, like, I don't know, science, if it's DNA, but they've been around as long as we have. Is it that they literally are trying to, like, yo, we remember before the fucking, every time you guys get wiped out, like, we're deep under, we remember,
the shrooms?
Yeah, the shrooms and shit, or, like, the root system of the Amazon, like, all these things have been around as long as we keep resetting. So then when we take mushrooms and stuff and trip out, and we're like, oh, my God, well, I saw this and saw that, and someone goes, oh, that was just like a hallucination. It's not real. Well, one, could be this collective conscious Akashic record thing where they literally have like the genes still of memory. But then there's also the thing of everything we see is like projected in our brain. Our eyes are like little data collectors that just, and then somewhere in our brain, it presents us an image. So isn't taking mushrooms and stuff cutting out the middleman, kind of? Isn't that like more real?
Takes the filter off.
Well, that's how I always thought of it, was it took the filter off, and now you can see these other things. But now I'm thinking of it more like, oh, your eye, it can take in too much information, you know what I mean? It can misunderstand things. Like, it can be fooled ways. If you close your eyes and just let mushrooms or whatever talk to you or show you shit, there's no middleman there. There's no fucking, there's nothing to be confused about. Like, it's just showing. Maybe the confusion comes from like going from its language to your language and just trying to show pictures and shit. But
remember when you were saying how when you took the 5 grams and you jumped into the Bifrost?
I didn't jump into it,
but you were beaming me. You saw different lives, right?
Yeah, I kept having to pull my head out, and I would dip my head back in.
What if the block that's on our brain is, because if we can't access all the memories and all the stuff that are in whether like we can't access those parts of our brain, what if when you get that unlocked, because we talk about these Anunnaki or these god figures and how thousands of years go by and this dude's still talking. It's like, what if consciousness is you go up and then you come back down, you come back, like you could pick a different body, you could do whatever you want. What if taking that filter off or that block is your memory of all of your past lives? So when you take those drugs it almost puts you through that, and you can kind of dip into your past shit, or you can come back to like cosmic knowledge that you used to have or some shit. And then
Because you'd think
that's why all these gods or all these like Anki or all these Anunnaki characters, they might die, but they just get put in a different fucking body because they have that, they can remember their past lives. They know all the past shit they did. So they live thousands and thousands and thousands of years, but it's like, are they really living that long, or are they just shedding their body, hopping into a new one? Or do they upload into a certain thing, like what they want to do with AI?
if you're the reptilians, if you have the power to have a fucking soul recycler, wouldn't you also have the power to like direct who it goes in?